I don't know if I'm looking for advice, validation, or just trying to get this toxic weight off my chest. I've been reading these posts for years, thinking, that could never happen to me. Well, guess what? It did. And it hit like a freight train going 120 miles per hour. I, 33M, married my wife, 32F, after 4 years of dating. She was charming, fun, super sociable, like she could make friends at a funeral kind of person. Everyone loved her. My parents, my friends. Hell, even my exes thought she was refreshingly authentic. That's the part that gets me. Everyone was fooled, including me. In the beginning, she made me feel like I was the only man on earth. Thoughtful texts, little surprises, sex life was amazing. She supported my startup grind, even when it meant ramen noodles and late nights for 2 years. I thought, this woman is the real deal. But now that I'm looking back with clarity and pain, I can tell you the red flags were there. Subtle, but they were flapping in the wind. I just refused to see them. There were small lies. Like the time she said she was at yoga, but her friend's Instagram story showed them at a rooftop bar. She laughed it off. We grabbed drinks after class. Okay, cool. Harmless, right? She constantly complained about how jealous and paranoid her coworker's boyfriend was. That guy was a walking red flag, apparently. She'd roll her eyes whenever she told stories about how men can't handle confident women. I believed her. I defended her. I was proud of her. Looking back, I realized those were projection bombs she was dropping. I worked my ass off to build our life. I'm not going to pretend I was perfect. There were times I was emotionally distant, stressed, tired. But I never lied. I never cheated. And I certainly didn't think I'd one day question every damn word that came out of the mouth of the woman I promised to spend my life with. I'm writing this because what happened next changed everything. And I need to process it piece by piece. This is the beginning of how I found out I was living a lie. So about 6 months ago, things started to shift. Nothing big, just weird little habits. Like suddenly, her phone was always face down, or on silent, or just mysteriously out of sight when we were together. Before, she used to scroll next to me and share memes or reels. Now, if I so much as glanced her way while she was on her phone, it was, "What? Why are you looking at me like that?" Okay, maybe she was just tired of screen time. Maybe I was being paranoid. But then came the passwords. She changed the lock screen code on her phone. Didn't tell me. I only noticed because I used to grab it to Google stuff or check DoorDash orders. I asked, casually, "Hey, you changed your passcode?" She blinked. Yeah, work policy. Security stuff. Work policy. For her marketing job. At a nonprofit. Right. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be that guy. You know, the insecure husband who freaks out about privacy. But it started eating at me. I told myself I was imagining things. Gaslighting myself, basically. That's what happens when you've trusted someone for years. You assume you're the one being weird. Then one night, she got up at 1 a.m. to get water. I rolled over, half asleep, but something told me to keep an eye open. She went downstairs, but I could see the glow of her phone light under the door crack. I waited. 10 minutes. 15. She came back and smelling like perfume. Her explanation? I couldn't sleep. I put on some lavender spray. At 1 a.m. After texting in the kitchen. I laughed nervously. Who were you texting? She didn't miss a beat. Amanda. Her mom's in the hospital again. Amanda. The same Amanda who, days later, would tell me she hadn't spoken to my wife in weeks. That was the moment I realized I was holding on to a relationship I didn't even recognize anymore. But I still wasn't ready to face the truth. Because the truth? It was about to slap me harder than anything in my life. A few weeks after the lavender lie, the universe finally stopped playing subtle. I was cleaning up the living room. She had left in a rush that morning for a team-building conference 2 towns over. While picking up some receipts and mail from the coffee table, yes, I'm that kind of husband, a folded-up hotel receipt slipped out of a magazine she had tucked under the TV remote. It was from 2 days prior. Date, Thursday. Location, some boutique hotel 20 minutes from our house. Room, 1 king bed. Charge, room service for 2, wine, and, get this, chocolate-covered strawberries. I laughed. Out loud. A dry, empty, WTF is this kind of laugh. My stomach dropped. That sound your body makes when your instincts finally scream louder than your denial? I heard it loud and clear. She hadn't mentioned anything about staying at a hotel on Thursday. She said she was at a late dinner with the board. I remembered because I had texted her to pick up milk on the way home, and she said she was still stuck at the restaurant. I took a picture of the receipt, sat down, and just stared at it for what felt like an hour. I didn't call her, didn't text. I didn't even move. Just sat there, trying to process that the woman I loved, who I fought for, sacrificed for, had likely spent Thursday night in bed with someone else. When she got home that evening from her conference, she was glowing. Makeup done, hair curled, like she'd stepped out of a Pinterest board. She kissed me on the cheek like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't just detonated a bomb in our marriage without me knowing it. "So how was your day?" she asked, pulling off her coat. And that's when I said it, calmly, but with my heart in my throat. "Find anything interesting at the boutique hotel on Thursday?" Her face didn't even twitch. Just a pause, then a tilt of the head. "What hotel?" I held up my phone and showed her the picture. She blinked, swallowed. Then came the first of many lies. "Oh, that was for Amanda. She used my credit card. Her fiancé doesn't know she drinks, and she needed a place to." I didn't even respond. I just walked away. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might black out. I'd spent years trusting this woman. Years. And in 5 seconds, she gave me a story that sounded like it was written by a high school drama student. I wish I could say I left that night. I didn't, because I still wanted to believe she had a good reason. Stupid, right? All right. Buckle up, Reddit. This is where things went from suspicious to straight up insane. After the hotel receipt and her Olympic-level mental gymnastics about Amanda, I started doing something I'd never done in our entire relationship. I stopped trusting her. Fully, quietly, completely stopped. And that's when the pieces started falling into place, because I wasn't so blinded anymore. I reached out to Amanda. I didn't want to be weird about it, so I played it cool. "Hey, hope your mom's doing okay. Wife said she's been helping you through a rough patch." Amanda replied, "Wait, what? I haven't talked to her in like 2 weeks. Did something happen?" Boom. That was it. That was the spark. I finally stopped gaslighting myself. So I took it further. I checked our shared iCloud account. She had no idea I still had access to an old device backup from a tablet we used to use. I synced it. Messages, photos, calendar events, emails, everything came rushing in. And there he was. His name was Matt. Tall, gym rat type. She met him through some networking event, probably while I was up to my neck in work, trying to launch my business into profitability. I saw messages going back 8 months. 8. They had pet names. Inside jokes. He called her babe. She called him her escape. Let me say that again. Her escape. I spent years building a life with this woman. Stayed up until 3 a.m. trying to fix client bugs so we could afford vacations, dinner dates, a damn future. And here she was, sexting a guy named Matt and calling him her escape. One text still haunts me. He wrote, "I wish you didn't have to go back to him. I hate that you pretend with him." And her reply, "I know, but it's easier this way. He never suspects a thing." Yeah, that he was me. And I had no idea I was living with someone who saw me as an inconvenience. I screenshotted everything, created a folder. I labeled it just in case. But I didn't confront her yet. I wanted to know how far she'd go with her lies. I wanted to see how deep the rabbit hole went. Turns out, I wasn't even close to the bottom yet. So, after discovering months of messages between her and Matt, I felt like a ghost in my own life. You ever feel that? That hollow, surreal feeling where everything looks the same. Same kitchen, same couch, same smile from your wife. But you suddenly realize you're living in a set, and everyone's acting? That's what it felt like. She kept pretending. Still laughed at my jokes. Still kissed me on the forehead before leaving for work. Still asked me if I wanted Thai or Indian for dinner like nothing was wrong. Like she wasn't spending her lunch breaks in his car. Yeah, I found that out too. Turns out she wasn't just meeting Matt at night. She was scheduling him into her calendar like a dentist appointment. Lunch break, 1 to 2 p.m., Tuesday. Hotel near her office. Description, strategy session. I bet it was very strategic. Here's where it gets worse. One night, I pretended to be asleep, and I heard her sneak out of bed at 11:30 p.m. She didn't even try to be quiet. I peeked out the window as she got into her car, dressed up, heels, makeup, for a midnight pharmacy run. I didn't follow her that night. I just sat there, staring at my hands, wondering when the hell my marriage turned into a Netflix thriller. The next morning, she was all smiles. Made coffee. Said she had a weird dream about a lion chasing her through IKEA. You know, normal married people stuff. So I asked casually, "You sleep okay last night?" She didn't even flinch. "Yeah. What?" I nodded. Must have imagined the sound of the front door. She looked at me, blinked, and said with zero hesitation, "Oh, yeah, I forgot. I went to get Advil. You were snoring so loud I couldn't sleep." The lie rolled off her tongue like she'd practiced it. And that was the moment I knew something most men never admit to themselves. She didn't respect me, not even a little. Not only was she cheating, she had the audacity to think I was too stupid to notice, that I was a background character in her double life. That night, I added more screenshots to the just-in-case folder, created a backup, cloud, USB, email draft. I was playing it like a spy now. She had no clue, but soon as she would, because I had a plan forming. And it was nothing like the sweet, forgiving version of me she thought she married. So here I was, living in this weird in-between phase. Not officially confronting her. Not officially moving on. Just watching. Gathering. Waiting. At this point, I wasn't even sad anymore. I was fascinated. Like a scientist studying a wild animal that somehow learned how to use Tinder. I started testing her. Little things. Subtle. One night, I asked her, "Hey, remember that restaurant we went to on our anniversary?" She replied, "Which one?" "Which one? We went to one place. One anniversary dinner. That's it." So I smiled and asked, "The steakhouse downtown, remember?" She gave me this weird half-laugh. "Oh yeah. Yeah. The one with the live jazz, right?" "No. That was with Matt." I had already seen the pics in her deleted photo folder. That's when it hit me. She couldn't keep the story straight anymore. Her double life was fraying at the edges, and all I had to do was keep pulling the threads. That week, she said she was working late again. I told her, "Cool, I'll swing by with dinner, maybe say hi to your team." Her face froze. It's not that kind of thing. It's like a private planning meeting. Just the director and me." Now here's where the fun starts. I did go to her office. She wasn't there. I didn't even have to go inside. The place was dark. Her entire floor was empty. So I drove to the boutique hotel from the previous receipt. Her car was there. I sat across the street for 30 minutes. Guess who walked out? Matt, followed by my wife. She kissed him. Not a peck, a kiss. The kind that said, "You're mine," not, "We're sneaking around." I took photos. Not for revenge porn, not for drama, but because I knew the second I confronted her, she'd lie. Like she always did. And I needed the truth more than I needed closure. I drove home that night numb. Cold, but focused. Because I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't even going to ask her why. I was going to end this on my terms. And she wasn't ready for what came next. By this point, I had one foot out the door, but I wasn't about to just walk away quietly. She had lied, cheated, disrespected me, and played me for a fool in my own house. Nah, she wasn't getting the luxury of a peaceful fade-out. So I started planning Operation Wake Up Call. It began with quiet detachment. No more sweet texts. No more asking her how her day was. No more cuddling on the couch. Just polite indifference. Businesslike. Like she was a tenant in my life, not a partner. And she noticed. "What's going on with you lately?" she asked one night while scrolling Instagram next to me. "Just tired," I said. She stared at me for a second, like she knew something had shifted, but couldn't quite figure out how much I already knew. Now here's where it gets fun. I scheduled a meeting with a divorce attorney. Paid in full. Quietly moved some money into a separate account. Started preparing to file and have her served on our anniversary, because poetic justice matters. I also reached out to Matt's girlfriend. Yup, turns out he wasn't just screwing around with my wife, he was engaged. Her name was Leah. Sweet girl. Looked like the type who still sent her fiancé good morning texts with too many emojis. I sent her everything. Screenshots, calendar events, hotel pics, even some audio recordings I had started making with a voice memo app. She didn't reply at first, but 2 days later, she sent back just one sentence. "Thank you." I had no idea. Then she blocked me. Fair enough. Next, I backed up everything. Legal documents, conversations, photos. I wanted to be bulletproof before I dropped the hammer. And finally, I told her we should do dinner for our anniversary. She lit up. "Oh babe, really? I thought you forgot." I didn't forget. I was just waiting to ruin it. Our anniversary dinner was at this swanky rooftop spot downtown. The kind of place where couples go to celebrate years of love, and where every dish costs more than a car payment. She wore red, her special occasion dress. Did her hair all curled and perfect, with that perfume I used to love, back when I thought she only wore it for me. The whole drive there, she was glowing, laughing, acting like we were high school sweethearts again. I played along, smiled when she smiled, even held her hand. Inside, she ordered a bottle of wine like nothing was wrong. To us, she said, raising her glass. I clinked it, and then I slid a folder across the table. Her smile cracked like glass. She looked down. What's this? Your year in review, I said. Spoiler, it's not a love story. She opened it. Inside were color prints of all the screenshots, the hotel receipts, the texts with Matt, the calendar appointments, the deleted photos, everything. I watched the blood drain from her face. She didn't even deny it. Just stared at the papers, blinked twice, and whispered, You went through my stuff? Oh, that was her angle. Not I'm sorry. Not please let me explain. Nope. Just immediate victim mode. You violated my privacy, she said, louder this time. I leaned back in my chair, kept my voice steady. And you violated our marriage. Daily. Repeatedly. With full commitment. She looked around. People were starting to glance. Her voice dropped to a hiss. You're humiliating me. No, I said. You did that. I'm just giving you front row seats. Then I dropped the final bomb. I spoke to Leah. Her eyes shot up. Who? Matt's fiancé. Or ex, I guess. Hard to keep track. She went pale. Like, genuinely pale. The kind of face someone makes when they realize the game is over. That it wasn't just cheating. That it wasn't just a fling. It was impactful now. I stood up. Happy anniversary, I said. We're done. I walked out. Left her there. Sitting with the evidence of her double life, in a $200 dress, with wine she wouldn't finish and a reputation that was about to implode. And for the first time in months, I felt peace. I got home about 30 minutes before she did. Packed a bag. Grabbed the essentials. Laptop, chargers, clothes, my passport, the documents. Everything else. I didn't care. Let her have the air fryer and the designer towels. I was taking back me. When she finally walked in, I was sitting on the couch holding my keys. Her makeup was smeared. Eyes red. That red dress looked less like seduction now and more like shame. Please, she started, her voice already breaking. Can we talk? I didn't even look up. We've been talking for months. You were just saying your lines to someone else. She dropped to her knees. I swear I'm not making this up. She literally dropped to her knees, crying, shaking, grabbing at my hand like some kind of rom-com cliché. I messed up. I know, but it didn't mean anything. I didn't think it would go this far. I looked down at her. It went as far as hotel rooms, sexting, and an entirely separate relationship. You thought it through. She sobbed harder, said she was lost, that she missed being seen, that I was so focused on work. Same old script. But then came the part that really did it for me. She said, maybe if you had been more affectionate. That's when I cut her off. Stop. Just stop. Don't you dare blame me for your choices. Her tears stopped like a faucet being shut off. Her face hardened. The shift was instant. And that's when the real her came out. You think you're perfect? You're not. You were boring. We haven't been happy in years, and you're acting like I'm the villain. No, I said calmly, standing up. You're not a villain. You're just average. Like every other person who thinks they're entitled to loyalty without giving it back. And then I walked out. I stayed with my buddy Chris that night. Crashed on his couch. He handed me a beer and said, took you long enough. He knew. They all knew something was off. I just didn't want to see it. I finally did. The next morning, my phone blew up. 30 missed calls. 17 texts. A 5-paragraph email. Then came the family group chat stuff. Her mom messaging me like she was the one being cheated on. Please don't make any rash decisions. Marriage is about forgiveness. Yeah? Maybe tell your daughter that before she used our anniversary as foreplay for another man. Then came her Hail Mary move. She showed up at my office. Unannounced. Looking like she hadn't slept. Makeup smeared again, hair in a bun. The raw and real look. Like a last-ditch attempt to seem vulnerable. I just want to talk, she said. Just us. No lawyers. Too bad. I had already sent her the divorce papers through my attorney. She hadn't signed yet, but I made sure they were delivered before she could pull the let's work on it routine. We went to a cafe across the street. Neutral ground. I don't want to lose everything, she said. We have a life together. We can fix this. I sipped my coffee, calm as hell. No. You had a life with me, and you trashed it. I'm just walking away from the garbage now. She started crying again. Then it flipped. She got angry. You think you'll be happier alone? You're just gonna be some bitter divorced guy who doesn't trust women. I smiled. No. I'm gonna be a guy who doesn't trust liars. Big difference. That shut her up. She tried one last card. You don't have proof I slept with him. Oh, sweetheart. I pulled out my phone. Clicked the audio recording of her literally saying, Matt and I weren't even being careful in the hotel last time. Her eyes went wide. You were recording me. That's sick. I stood up. No sicker than screwing someone else and kissing me with his spit still on your lips. She went quiet. I paid for my coffee, walked out, and didn't look back. She lost the ability to manipulate me that day. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was the 1%, the one who doesn't stay for round 2. So, after that cafe showdown, everything got weirdly silent. No more calls, no more texts. Just radio silence. At first, I thought maybe she was finally processing the mess she made. But nope. Turns out she was spinning stories behind my back, telling friends and family that I was the crazy one, that I invaded her privacy and blew everything out of proportion. Classic move. The victim flip. I won't lie, hearing that hurt. Because for a while, I questioned myself. Was I really the villain? But then I reminded myself. The truth doesn't change based on who screams loudest. Meanwhile, I was slowly rebuilding my life. I started therapy, talking through the betrayal, the anger, the grief. I hit the gym more often, not to get revenge, but to feel strong again. I reconnected with old friends who'd been quietly watching me struggle. And yeah, I even tried dating again, though that was a roller coaster of awkward. Emotionally, I was a mess sometimes. Sad that the marriage I thought I was building was a lie. Angry at how easily she tossed us aside. But also grateful, because now I knew. And knowing gave me power. If I'd stayed blind, I'd still be stuck in that 99%. Instead, I'm one of the 1% who choose to walk away. A few months after everything went down, I was scrolling through a thread on Reddit, ironically, in a relationship advice forum. One comment stood out. Most people stay stuck because they choose comfort over confrontation, lies over truth, excuses over action. That hit me like a freight train. It wasn't just about my wife being a liar or a manipulator. It was about me, and so many guys like me. Choosing to ignore red flags, making excuses for terrible behavior, hoping things would get better. Spoiler, they don't, unless you do. I realized the 99% are people who stay because they fear being alone. Stay because they don't want to upset the status quo. Stay because the idea of starting over feels impossible. Stay because confronting the truth is painful. The 1%, we're the ones who accept the pain, face the truth head on, and take the hard path out. We don't settle for lies wrapped in apologies. We don't bargain with betrayal. We don't waste time waiting for change that'll never come. We choose to be free. That realization wasn't easy. It still isn't easy some days. But it's the truth that got me here. Looking back, if I could tell my younger self, or anyone stuck in this nightmare, here's what I'd say. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore the signs because you want to believe the best. Don't be afraid to confront hard truths. It's scary. It hurts. But living a lie hurts more in the long run. Protect yourself emotionally and financially. Start documenting things discreetly if you suspect betrayal. It's not about being paranoid. It's about being prepared. Lean on friends and therapy. Isolation feeds the pain. You don't have to do this alone. Accept that sometimes love isn't enough. Loyalty, respect, and honesty matter too. If those are missing, it's not a partnership. Remember your worth. You deserve someone who values you, not someone who betrays your trust and lies to your face. Don't rush to fix things for the sake of convenience. The hard truth now is better than a broken life later. If you're stuck in that 99% loop, I get it. But know this, the choice to be part of the 1%, the ones who leave and heal, is in your hands. It's terrifying. It's painful. But it's freedom. A year has passed since I walked away. Am I fully healed? No. Some days still hit hard. But I'm no longer defined by her lies or betrayal. I'm defined by the choices I made after. I rebuilt my life on honesty and self-respect. Started new hobbies, reconnected with old friends, even started dating again. This time with my eyes wide open. I accepted that some people aren't meant to be in your story forever. And that's okay. I stopped asking why me and started asking what now. Now I focus on me, my growth, and my happiness. And honestly, it feels good to finally be free from that toxic cycle. If you're reading this and stuck in the 99%, wondering if you should stay or go, remember, freedom is possible. It's scary, but it's worth it. You don't have to live someone else's lie. So here's the raw truth. Only about 1% of people truly break free from toxic, dishonest relationships. Not because they're stronger or luckier, but because they're willing to face the brutal reality. They're willing to walk away from comfort, routine, and familiarity, even when it hurts like hell. The other 99% stays stuck, trapped by fear, denial, and hope for change that never comes. My story? It's not special. It's just one example of what happens when you finally choose yourself over a lie. If you want to be in that 1%, start by being honest with yourself and your partner. Don't settle for half-truths or empty promises. Demand respect, loyalty, and honesty. And if those aren't there, don't wait around. Leave. Because at the end of the day, you owe yourself peace. You owe yourself freedom. You owe yourself a chance to really live. Thanks for reading. I hope my mess helps someone else avoid theirs. TLDR, my wife cheated, lied, and betrayed me. I found out, faced the truth, and chose to leave. It sucked, but I'm free now, and so can you be. Don't be afraid to be part of the 1%.